Sigma Bank, monitoring your total balance and recent activity has never been easier. Transfers are instant and confirmed.
Okay, let's get straight into it. We're looking at an investment review for a company making a massive claim. They believe they've cracked the code on one of the biggest cash drains for B2B startups, customer acquisition. Our job here is to dig in, break down their net zero CAC thesis, and decide if this is a real game changer.
So, let's start with the problem they're going after. And honestly, this quote just nails it. The core argument here is that the math for B2B growth is fundamentally broken. We're not just talking about marketing getting a little pricey, we're talking about a fatal flaw in the business model for so many companies. This really sets the stage for why a radical solution isn't just a nice to have, it's a need to have.
All right, here's how we'll break this down. First, what is the core thesis? Then we'll look at the problem they're solving in more detail. After that, we'll see their solution, understand the bigger strategic play here, and finally, and this is the important part, we'll look at the early proof that it's actually working.
Okay, first up, the core thesis. This is the headline, right? The big, audacious claim that's at the heart of this entire pitch. Net zero customer acquisition cost. It sounds almost too good to be true, so let's get into exactly what they mean by that.
So what's really key to understand here is that they're not just talking about slightly cheaper leads. No, this is a totally different way of thinking about acquisition. They talk about a programmatic engine. Think of it like a smart radar that's constantly scanning the internet for buying signals. It's listening, it's watching, and the moment a potential customer shows real interest, it captures that intent and turns it into a lead. All of this without spending a single dollar on a paid ad. That's the core idea.
Now, to really appreciate what they've built, you have to understand the broken system they're trying to replace. And that's the whole growth at all costs playbook that is just absolutely failing a ton of B2B companies right now. And this slide right here, this is the death spiral. You know, companies get trapped in this vicious cycle. They have to pay these insane prices for ads. Then, to make those expensive leads even work, they've got to hire huge, expensive sales teams. And what happens? Well, you see it right there. Your customer acquisition cost, your CAC, ends up being higher than the customer's lifetime value. It's a completely unsustainable model that just burns cash until there's nothing left. So how do they fix this broken model? With a programmatic solution. And the most important phrase on this slide is software-first operating system. They're making it perfectly clear. This isn't a consulting gig. It's not another marketing agency. This is scalable technology. This is a platform. So here's how the engine actually works, broken down into 3 pretty simple steps. Step 1, you build your brand organically. Step 2, their software just silently hunts for those buying signals in real time. And then step 3, it automates the conversion. You see what they're doing? They're effectively eliminating the 2 biggest money pits in B2B, paid ads and a giant sales team. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just a new tool they've built. This is a bet on a fundamental shift in the market, moving away from annoying customers with ads they don't want and toward engaging them at the exact moment they've shown they're ready to buy.
And this side-by-side really makes it crystal clear. The old way is just brute force, right? You spend a fortune interrupting people who probably aren't even interested. The new way is all about efficiency and elegance. You find the people who are already looking for you, and you just help them along. One model burns cash, the other one captures existing demand and turns it into real, scalable revenue.
Of course, a great idea needs a great team to actually make it happen. So who's behind this? You've got Victor, the CEO. He's the strategist, the one who saw this huge shift in the market. And then you have Aysa, who's building the machine, the systems, the tech, the product loops that actually make it all work. It's that classic visionary and operator duo. That perfect partnership gives us a lot of confidence they can actually execute on this.
Okay, so we've got the thesis, the problem, the solution, the team. But now we get to the part that really matters to any investor. Validation. Is this real? Is anyone actually buying it? And the answer is yes. They've already secured 3 pilots. Now look, I know 3 doesn't sound like a huge number, but at this early stage, it's everything. It's the signal we're looking for. It proves this isn't just a cool idea on a slide deck. This is a real solution to a painful problem that real companies are willing to pay for. This is our first critical sign of product market fit.
So, let's wrap this up. This team is making a really compelling bet that they can make that whole growth at all costs playbook obsolete. They've identified a massive problem, they've built a smart solution, and most importantly, they have those crucial early signs of traction. The only real question left for us to answer is, if they're right, just how big can this actually get?
Bank, monitoring your total balance and recent activity has never been easier. Transfers are instant and confirmed.
All right, Founding 500, welcome. We're here to talk about something critical. We're standing at a fork in the road, looking at two very different futures for our network. One of those futures happens, well, pretty much on its own. The other, we have to fight for. This whole explainer is about that choice and the one single action that decides which path we take. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with a number. Just look at it for a second. 505,488. This is one possible future. 12 months from now, this is how many members our network could have. This is our baseline, solid, organic growth. It's the path of least resistance. It's what happens if we just let things ride. Keep that number in your head.
Now, here's the second number. In that exact same 12-month window, the network could have over 4 million members. Yeah, you heard that right. That is a huge difference. And no, that's not a typo. Our models are clear. This isn't some fantasy. It's a completely achievable reality. A future that is almost 8 times bigger.
So, you've got to be asking yourself, what in the world creates a gap that big? What's the secret variable that accounts for over 3.5 million more members? Here's the thing. It's not luck. It's not the market. And it's definitely not chance. It's a choice. Our choice.
And that brings us right into our first section. 2 paths, 1 choice. The key takeaway here? The future of this network, it is absolutely not set in stone. We're the ones holding the pen.
Let's look at the actual data. On the left, you see our baseline. That's the 1.68x organic growth path. And on the right, that's what we call the surge state, the 2.0x trajectory. You can see how the gap starts out pretty small, right? But look what happens. By month 6, it's already massive. And by month 12, it's a whole different world. That's the raw power of a compounding multiplier in action.
And this right here, this chart just makes it impossible to ignore. That visual gap is everything. It's not just a mathematical difference. It's undeniable. One path gets us a really strong, respectable network, no doubt about it. But the other path? That leads to absolute market dominance. So this chart, it isn't showing 2 possibilities. It's showing 2 completely different destinies.
So what is that variable? What is the secret ingredient? Well, that brings us to section 2, the human action gap. The one thing that changes everything isn't some complicated algorithm or a bit of code. It's us. It's the space between just watching things happen and actively getting together to make them happen.
So what is human action? It's not an abstract concept. It's you, it's me, it's the 500 of us acting in concert, making a conscious decision to shift that growth multiplier ourselves. We are the agents of change. We are the ones who can close that gap.
Maybe the best way to think about it is like this. That 1.68x growth, that's our floor. It's our safety net. It's what's going to happen pretty much no matter what. But the 2.0x growth, that's our ceiling. It's the incredible potential just waiting, right there above our heads, ready to be unlocked by us together.
So how do we break through that ceiling? How do we get there? That's section 3, the 1-for-1 mission. And this is all about how one single simple action creates a massive doubling effect.
And the mechanics of this are so beautifully simple, you're going to love it. Step 1, every single one of us in the Founding 500 refers just one new qualified scout, someone who gets it. Step 2, our core inflection point, the engine of our growth, instantly doubles from 500 to 1,000, just like that. And step 3, that single collective action is the very thing that flips the switch, that shifts our entire network's multiplier up to that powerful 2.0x doubling effect.
And let's be crystal clear about the why here. This is not about doing the project a favor. This is a fundamental requirement for our collective success. The real incentive is creating what we call network density. Every single quality person we bring in directly increases the value and utility of the ALK token for every single one of us. It's that simple.
This changes the entire frame, doesn't it? We have to stop thinking about this like it's some kind of marketing campaign or a referral program. Aysa gave us the perfect way to frame this. It's a collective challenge. This is the hunt.
And honestly, Aysa just put it perfectly. I'm just going to read the quote. The 1.68x path is our floor, but the 2.0x path is our ceiling. If every Founding 500 member brings in just one person who gets it, we don't just hit 100K in a year, we hit the millions. One referral per founder. That's the hunt. So what's the bottom line here?
This single action marks a massive shift in our identity. We're graduating. This is us moving beyond being a small, elite scouting party and becoming what we are always meant to be, a dominant, unstoppable force in this jungle.
And so, right now, the hunt begins. This is not just a suggestion or a good idea. We're proposing we make this the very first official task of the Forge, a foundational act, something that will define everything that comes after it.
Which brings us right here to our final question. The data couldn't be clearer. The mission is incredibly simple. The choice between 500,000 members and 4 million members literally rests on this one single action. So the question is now for all of you. Should this be our first official Forge task? The choice is yours.
Sigma Bank, monitoring your total balance and recent activity has never been easier. Transfers are instant and confirmed.
All right, come on in. Let's pull back the curtain. If you're watching this, you're getting an inside look at Project Sigma, our big experiment to build a new kind of collaborative tool completely out in the open. Today, I'm giving you the inside track, the playbook for how you can go from just being a viewer to being a founder. Let's jump in.
It all kicks off with this number, 1.68x. Now, this isn't just some random number we pulled out of a hat. It represents our target monthly growth rate. And yeah, it's inspired by the golden ratio. It's the engine, it's the formula, it's really the heartbeat of everything we're building.
So let me just ask you straight up. What if this number wasn't just data on a screen? What if it was actually an invitation, a direct path for you to not just watch us build, but to get in here and build with us and, share in the upside?
This curve right here, this is our North Star. It's a growth path that's inspired by the natural compounding you see in the Fibonacci sequence. It's what's guiding us from our first 1,000 subscribers to over 100,000 and, get this, all without spending a single dime on paid ads. This is our playbook, and we're just sharing it with you.
You see, every single person on this curve, every subscriber, isn't just a number to us. You are potentially one of the founding 500. That's the core group, the ones who are going to shape what Project Sigma actually becomes. So, how in the world does a growth curve translate into a community of founders? Well, it all starts with a totally different philosophy about how you build something that actually matters. Look, if you're seeing this right now, you are not late to the party. Heck, you're helping us set it up. We don't see you as just a passive audience. We see you as essential collaborators who have the power to influence the product, the strategy, and who we build it for first. The engine behind all this is a principle we call zero CAC. It's just a fancy term for zero customer acquisition cost. All it means is we don't buy attention with ads, we earn it by building something valuable. And that way, all our energy and resources go into the product, not into advertising. The growth comes directly from you. And this really shows the difference, right? The old model is all about burning cash on ads for these short-term, kind of low-value interactions. Our model, it's more like planting a tree. We're focused on building a strong, rooted community that provides real long-term value. We're compounding attention organically, and that's just a way more powerful foundation to build on.
Okay, so you get the philosophy. Now, let's get into the practical stuff. Here is the exact 3-step playbook to grab your spot as a potential member of the founding 500. It really is this simple. First, you subscribe to the channel. Boom, that gets you on the curve. Second, you join the MVP waitlist, which basically just signals to us that you're serious. And third, you complete a really short qualification step so we know who you are and how we can best work with you.
And that's it. Seriously, we designed this to be a direct bridge. It's not some complicated funnel with a bunch of hoops to jump through. We're just removing all the friction because we want our earliest, most dedicated supporters to be the very first ones through the door.
Now that you know how to join, let's talk about why you'd want to. This is the payoff. This is the insider access that is reserved exclusively for the founding 500.
So, as a member of this first cohort, you're on the inside. You're going to get to play with product demos before anyone else. You get to join private Ask Me Anything sessions where you can grill the core team. We'll show you experiments we don't share with the public, give you priority for closed-door strategy sessions, and of course, a super simple, direct onboarding right into the MVP.
And let me be super clear about this. This is not your typical public beta where you're just reporting bugs. No way. This is a genuine invitation to pull up a chair at the table with us and help co-design the future of this product. Your feedback is going to directly shape our roadmap.
So, there it is. The path is clear, the rewards are waiting. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, starts right now.
Remember that whole zero CAC model? This is where it really comes to life. That flywheel we're building, it doesn't spin on its own. The energy comes from you. It comes from your engagement, your ideas, and your belief in what we're all building together.
Every single time you comment, or you ask one of those really tough questions, or you share one of our explainers, you're not just watching. You are actively, literally applying force to that growth curve we showed you. You're the invisible energy that's bending that line upward.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. Look at that curve again. Think about this whole opportunity, and then ask yourself, who is the one person you know, that one builder, that one collaborator, that future user who belongs on this journey from the very beginning, right here alongside you?
Sigma Bank, monitoring your total balance and recent activity has never been easier. Transfers are instant and confirmed.